All Blacks over Wales in the third place. Sorry, I should call it the bronze final. That's what the World Rugby website says. The bronze final. The All Blacks have got it done 40 points to 17. It was a pretty emphatic one. In the end, I guess the game kind of swung back and forth, but the All Blacks kind of did what they do in scoring just before halftime, and then again at the start of the second half. The Welsh squad obviously wasn't helped by all the injuries they had in the build up to this one, and I guess that showed. New Zealand brought back some of their big guns who were leaving, and they really stepped up for this game. And yeah, Wales had to call on some guys who haven't been in the squad for a while, or like Owen Lane's only played one game before, so perhaps that was largely part of the difference here. So yeah, I'll go over some of the key moments throughout the game, my thoughts on them, and then we'll have a look at the stats and how that showed at the end. But yeah, I mean, New Zealand won a couple of penalties early, one in their own half, one in the Welsh half. Interesting, they decided to opt for three early, did the All Blacks. Ended up missing. Mo'unga's kick hits the post. But the fact that the All Blacks are going for 3 points in a match which I guess a lot of us said doesn't mean anything, apparently it does, because otherwise you don't opt for the three. Like, if you've ever seen preseason games, teams just kick for touch. They don't take it all that seriously. I mean, this was always a test match. It was a World Cup game. Even if it's not the final that you wanted to be playing in, still want to win, and that was evident from that. So there's no early points there for the penalty kick, but they do open this try scoring early to the All Blacks. It's a try to Moody, and what a try! I mean, the guy, 22 meters, I think he runs with the ball for a prop. That's a pretty bloody good effort. The guy put the hammer down. Retallick with the line break and the offload and the build up. So top stuff from the All Blacks. They make it 7-0. 9 minutes, the Welsh do a scrum move. They do push the All Blacks back. They kick the ball through, but Beauden Barrett was there to clean up. So I guess that decision to keep him at fullback was looking like a good one, because he's another guy who, when he puts the hammer down, can be a hard guy to beat. And speaking of Beauden Barrett, put the hammer down on 13 minutes. He gets a try. Aaron Smith puts a little kind of reverse pass through to him, and he just scooched through the gap, and it's 14-0 kind of in no time. So at that point, the All Blacks are kind of scoring at a point a minute, and it's looking like it could be a long night for Wales. Although, to the Welsh credit, they never gave up at any point through the match, and they did keep fighting even when the scoreboard was looking pretty bad. And 14-0 after 14 minutes is not a good look. So the fact that they did come back on 16 minutes, the Welsh got held up. Adams beat Sonny Bill Williams pretty handily in the build-up, but they weren't able to capitalise on it. But from that, I think did they get a penalty advantage? Either way, the Welsh retained the ball, and eventually on 19 minutes, Amos gets his try. They went like 15 plus phases. There was a bit of a loose carry, but the Welsh kept the ball. They got it out to the left wing. Amos does a little bit of a dummy. He causes enough confusion in Rico Ioane. It was Mo'unga and Ben Smith to just kind of canter over for the try himself. And it's a really good kick to make it 14 points to 7, so it's kind of back towards game on mode. Unfortunately for Dane Coles, he had to go off on around 25 minutes, so he had a bit of a limp. So kind of bad news for a guy who has been remarkably injury-free for quite some time after having such a long layoff. 26 minutes, Patrick kicks a penalty, and it was a good bit of Welsh pressure that led up to it. So again, nobody wanted to lose, I guess, at this point of the game. It was still being taken like a proper test match between two top-class teams at a World Cup, even if it's not for the final. So that makes it 14 points to 10. 32 minutes, New Zealand get a turnover at ruck time. It's Sonny Bill in there helping out with that, which was top stuff from him. I guess he's kind of making up for Josh Adams putting him down earlier. But he gets physical. They get a turnover, and Ben Smith, he ends up getting a try on 33 minutes. He beat a few tackles in the build of that one, so it was 21-0. After that, Moriarty was on the ground at one point, and it did look like he copped like a boot or a leg to the head, but they didn't TMO it. They didn't go back and review it. The cameras on the feed that I was watching didn't really replay it apart from one time. Was it even one time, or was it live? I think it was one time. So I like to think that the TMO went back and checked it and decided there was nothing doing. I haven't seen it enough times to know if it was foul play or not. Maybe he just didn't see him down there. But yeah, it's not the kind of thing you want to see with guys being, because Moriarty was down for a fair while after that, although he did play on into the second half, so I assume he didn't have a concussion or anything like that. Interestingly, after that, New Zealand win a penalty, and they kick for touch, but Adams does a fantastic job of keeping it, and that guy's really performed well this World Cup. 39 minutes just before halftime, the Welsh go 13 phases before New Zealand finally wins a breakdown penalty. And then in typical All Blacks fashion, kind of late on in the piece, it's 41 minutes. Our man Ben Smith, in his final game for the All Blacks, he gets a try. He puts a big fend out into one of the defenders' faces. I forget who it was. And it goes into halftime 28-10. So if Wales score that try, it goes in 21 points to 17. So it's really game on. But the fact that the All Blacks not only managed to stop the Welsh attack, go down the other end and get a try to make it 28-10, it wasn't the best situation to be in for the Welsh. Stats at halftime: possession 58% for Wales, 61% territory. So they had enough of the ball, enough of the territory, but if you look at the run meters, it's the All Blacks 322, the Welsh 172. So not kind of having that cutting edge at times. And I mean, when you're missing guys like Liam Williams, Gareth Anscombe hasn't played in the World Cup at all, some of those real attacking weapons, that is perhaps going to be the case. All Blacks tackling percentage was 87%. They made 89 out of 102 in the first half. Wales were at 72%, which for them is pretty disappointing. It's pretty low. 53 out of 74, and they're kind of renowned for their defence with Sean Edwards there and Gatland. So a bit disappointing. Penalty count was 6-6 at halftime, so nothing much in that. Second half starts. What do the All Blacks do? Out of the blocks and scoring a try. It's Crotty on 42 minutes. It comes from a line-out turnover again, which is, I guess, punishing a mistake. Sonny Bill had an offload in there, so that guy was in a bit of everything this night. So, again, his last game. So, that puts the All Blacks even further ahead. Between 43 and 46 minutes, the Welsh start to make a lot of changes. Nicky Smith goes off, Ken Owens goes off, Moriarty goes off, Patchell goes off. So Gatland at that point really starts to ring the changes because I guess the side is down. 47 minutes, the TMO rules off Ben Smith's potential hat trick, but it's rightly done. There's a little tip on from Rieko Ioane in the build-up. Like he doesn't quite get his hands on a pass, but he just touches it slightly forward. And, enough of that goes forward before it gets to Ben Smith that it's a knock-on. So, that was unfortunate for Ben Smith, but indeed the right call. 55 minutes, the Welsh go 15-plus phases. Tipperick had a line break in the build-up, but there's no score. Alwyn Jones goes off after 55, minutes. Then Crotty goes off, Sonny Bill goes off. So all these big-name guys, some of the real senior guys start going off, and they're getting the applause, which they're well due. Wales eventually do score through Josh Adams. Who else would put Adams? It seems, and it wasn't even like a standard winger's try. It was like right at the bottom of a ruck. You could hardly see the ball, but the ref had a view of it, got it down. So, that put Wales up to 17 points, I guess. It's cool for him to get another try in the scheme of things for the tournament. The game kind of goes a wee bit messy at that point. Like my next note is not till 75 minutes in. It's Mo'unga's try. That was from the back of a 5-metre scrum. They missed the conversion to make it 40 points to 17. But I mean, the All Blacks started trying to offload a whole bunch of stuff. It got a bit messy from both sides. It was a bit scrappy in patches. The first half, like I said, it was tight, and it's the fact that the All Blacks scored that final try which really put them beyond. But I mean, if you look at both the Welsh tries, like I said, for Adams' one, it was 20 phases, and for The other one, it was, again, multiple phases. So, 15 plus phases. So that's the thing. The All Blacks defence was, unlike kind of last week, it was fairly rock solid. And not conceding a whole lot of missed tackles anyway. Not many defenders beaten. So, I know there's going to be a lot of talk in the New Zealand media about should they have started Crotty, should they have started Ben Smith, should they have started Rico Ioane, all these questions comparing to last week, but I guess that's what's done is done, man. I don't know if it would have made a difference because England played really well last week. So anyway, that's the way the game finished, 40 points to 17, pretty comfortable on the scoreboard. Disappointing for Gatland to go out on that note. He had a chance to beat the All Blacks with this Welsh team, but again, the injuries definitely didn't help that. They certainly showed some skill at times, but again, without some of their kind of key weapons, it was hard to beat an All Blacks defence, which really was up for this game. And for the All Blacks, they really were up for the game, which is really pleasing to see. They wanted to send some of these guys off on a good note. Sonny Bill, as I said, had a hand in a lot of things. Crotty got a try, Ben Smith got 2 tries, so it's nice for those guys who are on their way out to to get a bit of that kind of glory moment alongside the prop who just had a magnificent 20+ metre run. Final stats: Wales has 61% possession and territory, but again, it's not just about having the ball, and it's not about having it in which half of the field all the time. It's about kind of getting that go forward. All Blacks finished with a tackling percent of 89%. It doesn't get a lot better. They made 199 tackles. Wales made 102. So the All Blacks were busy. They were still made to work for this win, even though if it doesn't look like that on the scoreboard. Wales, as I said, 75% was their final tackling rate. So again, below what they would kind of set as their normal high standard, 102 from 136. Other stats: penalties conceded 10 to the All Blacks, 12 to Wales, kind of on the highish side for both teams. Clean breaks 16 to the All Blacks, only 6 to Wales, and this is what I'm talking about that key kind of penetrating move or weapon. Although run meters was 574 to 418, so a lot of running in this game, and offloads was 17 each. So again, that's kind of how you can play when it's the third place game and not the final. You're not going to see stats anywhere near like this in tomorrow's game, I would imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if the run meters for each team is maybe in the hundreds, but we will see. Individuals: Aaron Smith had 3 try assists, which is phenomenal. Beauden Barrett, 87 run meters, 3 defenders beaten, kind of normal stuff for him. Ben Smith on his finale, 68 run meters and 8 defenders beaten. He still is a very elusive runner. Adams for Wales, 79 run meters, 5 defenders beaten, so another top shift from him. Reid was the All Blacks top tackler, which is a good fitting send-off for him, 21 out of 23. Retallick got player of the match, he had 18 out of 20. James Davis was the top tackler for Wales, he had 14 out of 18. You might look at that and go, 4 missed tackles, that's not that good. But I mean, the next best Welsh tackler was Alan Wynne-Jones with 9 from 9. That guy doesn't miss a tackle, kind of no surprises there. But the All Blacks had to make twice as many tackles, so that's why the numbers are different there. So, that's the end of the tournament for these two teams. It was an entertaining game for the most part. Like I said, it kind of went off the boil at times as the guys kind of tried too much. Wales were chasing the game towards that, the middle and later stages of that second half. So there were a few errors. The All Blacks were ahead by enough that they could kind of throw the ball around a bit, and it didn't always pay off. So, All Blacks send their guys off the right way. They seemed pretty pleased at the end. I noticed that as they gave them their bronze medals, nobody was just taking them off in disgust. They were all kind of laughing and smiling with each other, and it was good to see the boys. Alan Wynne-Jones talking to Kieran Reid and having a smile and a laugh. Hopefully they have a few beers later and reminisce for a bit. So, that's it for these two teams. There's only one game to go in the Rugby World Cup, which is amazing. If you're South African fans, English fans, and you're watching this video before the final, I hope you're well rested, get a good night's sleep and whatnot, because it's going to be a big day tomorrow. I am going to go to bed now because it's almost 12:30 in the morning, I guess. It's certainly not midday, it's time for bed. So, you guys let me know your thoughts on the game. How did you think it went, the key moments and whatnot? And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.